Emotional tension and ambiguity are the heartbeat of any deeply personal story, especially when navigating sensitive or complex relational dynamics. In this context, the moment someone unexpectedly enters a space, like a kitchen, an inherently intimate and nurturing place, can carry a weight far heavier than the physical presence itself. It becomes not just about who enters, but how they enter, what they interrupt, and what remains unsaid. The tension begins not with action, but with stillness. A hand tightening on a dish towel, the sudden silence of a dripping faucet, or the hesitation before turning around, all small, seemingly mundane details that hint at something churning beneath the surface. Ambiguity breathes life into this tension. The reader is left to question what isn't shown, what isn't spoken. Why does the character flinch? Why does the breath catch, the air thicken, the eye linger for a second too long? Nothing explicit needs to occur. Indeed, the power lies in what does not happen. It's in the restraint, the glance over the shoulder, the sudden awareness of personal space that now feels charged. Perhaps the brother's footsteps are too familiar, the way he leans on the doorframe too relaxed, or the way he says her name, carries a strange softness. These subtleties create a discomforting familiarity. The kitchen, once a place of comfort and routine, becomes a stage for quiet upheaval. Within this tension, emotional undercurrents take root. The narrator might feel guilt without understanding why, or irritation she can't place. The room seems to shrink, the clatter of utensils suddenly too loud. Everything becomes heightened, each smell, each sound, each breath. A memory might flash. Uninvited, a late-night conversation, a laugh shared too closely, a look that lingered longer than it should have. But again, nothing is confirmed. The power of ambiguity lies in suggestion without clarity, implication without resolution. The characters are caught in a moment where time slows, where their emotions betray them even as they strive to remain composed. In such a moment, even a simple phrase, "Need help with that?" can feel loaded. Is it care? Is it intrusion? Or is it something else neither of them dares name? Ambiguity ensures that readers are participants in the scene, interpreting gestures and silences, piecing together the deeper emotional fabric from what's only lightly hinted at. It's this uncertainty that creates a rich psychological landscape, one where tension hangs thick in the air, unspoken yet undeniable. In this way, emotional tension and ambiguity become not just literary tools, but the very essence of the moment, vibrating beneath the story's surface, whispering louder than anything spoken aloud. The kitchen is not just a place for cooking, it is a living, breathing part of the home, where routine blends with emotion, and ordinary tasks can carry extraordinary weight. In a story meant to feel deeply realistic, the setting must feel alive with detail. The hum of the refrigerator fills the silence when words don't. The scent of onions frying in oil clings to the air, sharp and familiar. The heat of the stove flushes the cheeks. The coolness of the tile beneath bare feet contrasts with the warmth of the oven. The sound of a spoon scraping the inside of a metal pot becomes rhythmic, almost meditative, until interrupted. These sensory fragments don't just decorate the scene, they ground the reader in it. The characters aren't floating through a vague space. They are breathing, sweating, cooking, wiping their hands on aprons, moving around each other in confined spaces, brushing shoulders or avoiding touch. The realism is built not only through description but through behavior. The protagonist doesn't just stand in the kitchen, she wipes a splatter off the counter, tastes the sauce with a wooden spoon, checks the clock because something's late. There's flour on her palms. A cabinet creaks when opened. The light above flickers once and then steadies. These small interactions matter. They are what people do in real life, and capturing them creates authenticity. The realism is also about how characters speak or don't. Dialogue must carry the weight of everyday conversation, where words often hide more than they reveal. A line like "you're here early" may seem simple, but in context it can be loaded with subtext. The way someone answers or avoids answering builds tension that feels truthful. No dramatic outbursts, no theatrical revelations. Just a half smile, a pause too long, a plate being set down with more force than necessary. Lighting matters too. Is it early morning with a cold blue light pouring in through the window? Or is it late afternoon when the sun hits the countertops with a golden warmth? Shadows stretch differently depending on the hour, and so do feelings. Is there steam rising from a pot? Does the scent of cinnamon bread trigger an old memory? Does the clang of a dropped fork make someone jump? These elements don't scream for attention, but they shape the emotional landscape of the scene. They create contrast between the comfort of the setting and the discomfort of the interaction. That tension is magnified because the place feels real, because readers know what it's like to stand in a quiet kitchen alone, or to suddenly feel watched, or to be aware of another presence in the room before they speak. Every detail works to blur the line between the physical and the emotional. The home is not just architecture, it's history, repetition, routine. And in a moment of unexpected tension, those familiar walls start to feel like they're closing in. Internal conflict is often the loudest part of a silent moment. It begins before the door opens, before a word is spoken, something unspoken, lingers in the air, and the narrator feels it first, like a weight pressing on her chest. She might be chopping vegetables with perfect rhythm, but her thoughts are scattered, circling something she refuses to name. Her breath catches for no reason. Her fingers pause just above the cutting board. There's an unease within her, a restlessness, like she's waiting for something to happen or dreading that it will. When her brother enters the kitchen, that internal storm shifts, grows louder, sharper. She doesn't jump, she doesn't show it. But inside, something drops. Maybe it's her stomach. Maybe it's a memory. Maybe it's the guilt she's buried so deep she forgets it's even there until moments like this. Her actions continue, the stir of a spoon, the flip of a towel, but her thoughts are no longer aligned with them. This dissonance between inner emotion and outer behavior is where the power lies. The narrator might glance at him, and in that glance is a dozen unspoken thoughts. Does he know? Does he remember? Did he mean it when he said what he said last time? Or maybe nothing was said, and it's the silence between them that speaks, louder now. Her mind could race through possibilities. Should she say something? Should she leave the room? Is she overreacting? But none of these thoughts reach her lips. Instead, she asks if he's hungry, as if that will level the ground beneath them. And yet, her voice trembles slightly. Her hand lingers too long on the counter. Her heartbeat is too loud in her ears. The conflict often comes with confusion. The narrator may not fully understand what she's feeling. Is it fear, shame, longing? There's no clarity, only contradiction. She may feel drawn to him and repelled at the same time. She may want to speak, to bring something into the light, and yet find herself paralyzed by the risk of it. Even a small moment, like brushing past each other to reach for a utensil, becomes monumental in her mind. She replays it afterward, wondering if he noticed the tension in her shoulders, the breath she held as he passed. The room doesn't feel safe anymore, not because of danger, but because of the rawness of what she's trying to suppress. These emotions manifest physically. Too, her fingers might tremble slightly. Her throat might tighten. Her eyes may dart away too quickly. She becomes hyper-aware of her every move, as though she's being watched, even when he's looking elsewhere. She's stuck between the roles they're supposed to play and the emotions they can't quite contain. In this way, the kitchen becomes a crucible for her inner battle, between what she feels and what she allows herself to feel, between what she knows and what she's trying not to know. The silence is not empty. It's filled with everything she's too afraid to voice.